I guess I wish everybody a happy belated Halloween. I know you all look like trick-or-treating fools, like an outfit that's really expert in that regard. But one thing I would like to do is thank everybody for all the birthday wishes I got. It's really appreciated, more than you know, that people are kind enough to, whether it's send cards, send texts, whatever. A lot of friends out there, a lot of supporters, and we really do appreciate it. But I'd like to give everybody a little message, which I kind of feel, we all go around thinking, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to get up and go to work today. How about replacing have to with glad to? Glad to get up today, glad to go to work today, glad to have the opportunity, glad to be here. So that's how I'm feeling right now. We had a good work week this week. I think the key to the drill, which I've talked to the players about a couple times, is discipline. Discipline to be able to execute, be physical. Everybody do their job in the game, be able to sustain that kind of mental intensity for 60 minutes in the game. These games have always been tough games. They've always been close games. They've always been physical games. So I think you got to get your mindset to be ready to play a game like that. But it'll always come down to who can do the best job of executing, blocking, tackling, turnovers, taking care of the ball, making big plays, eliminating big plays, maintaining poise, playing smart, being disciplined. I know it'll be a great atmosphere in the stadium. I think it'll be important to our players that our fans are really into this game. Got a lot of national attention riding on this game, and this game has turned into a big rivalry for both sides, and I think we should respond to it accordingly.
Okay, we'll start back to Charlie.
Just have you seen Deshaun Hand and Josh Jacobs progress this week, and what do you think the chances are that either of those guys will be able to play Saturday?
Well, Josh Jacobs is fine. He'll be able to play, no question. Deshaun Hand has practiced, got reps. I don't think we'll be able to know whether he'll be able to play or not until pregame. He's been medically cleared. But still, anytime a player's coming off of injury, I think that player's got to have confidence that he can go out there and do his job well, and I usually talk to the player about that, and we'll make a decision in pregame on his status for the game.
Go back to the middle there in the back of Cecil.
Coach, this is away from Saturday's game, but have you had a chance to communicate with Jim McElwain at all this week?
I put a call into him, left him a message, didn't get a hold of him. I understand he went to see his granddaughter in Arizona. I did talk to Jimmy about him and how he was doing, sent a message through Jimmy to him. But, as the week winds downhill, I certainly, like to have an opportunity to let him know that we're here to support him in every way that we can. I think Jim did a really good job there to get to the SEC championship game the last 2 years. The first 2 years he was there, we've had to play him, and they're always difficult preparation, and we're just sorry it didn't work out for him better, and we'll do everything we can to help him in the future.
In the middle with Michael.
Just with all the talk about polls and rankings and their value, I just wondered how you approached your vote every week in the coaches' poll.
Well, I approach my vote in the coaches' poll very seriously. I think it's important for all of us as coaches to try to do a good job of knowing who the best teams are, using some input from other people in our organization to try to be as accurate as possible, even though this is all very subjective. When you make these kind of votes, if you don't play each other and everybody doesn't play each other, you really don't know who has the best team. So, but as I said on Monday, when it comes to how does that affect our position, what we think about the season, it's all about the next game. We're going to play 3 ranked opponents in the next 4 weeks of the season, and if we don't win all those games, we won't even be talking about rankings. All right, so what becomes most important? The next game, the team you have to play, preparing the right way, making sure you're ready to go play your best, and being able to sustain that week in and week out. this game this week is the most important game on the schedule. So that's what we're looking for, and the rest of it really doesn't matter, because it doesn't matter where you're at right now. It matters where you end up, and you got to do the things you got to do to end up where you want to end up.
Couple more. Start here with Mark.
Just wondering how you've seen the quarterback Danny Edling grow in their offense this year.
He's done a nice job of executing their offense. I think he's improved, quite a bit in terms of his understanding, his confidence that he plays with. He's been, I think, much more efficient, in terms of passing efficiency. Hadn't turned the ball over a lot. Has scrambled and made some key plays for him and used his feet when he needs to. So I think he's run a really good job of playing winning football for them. And, we have a lot of respect for what he can do and what their skill guys can do as well.
Sorry, Coach, we do have two more. We'll start with Alex and then Ryder.
You speak often about your messages to the team, and even using, your platform here as those messages. How can you use, or do you plan to use the new college football playoff rankings, getting number 2, kind of dropping a little bit as motivation this week, or just?
I hadn't really thought about it, to be honest with you. I didn't even know we were number 2 until just a little bit ago. That's how important I think it is. I would rather our players not be thinking about it. I would rather them not be talking about it. I'd rather them be thinking about what they need to do to play well in this game. It's like getting on, like 2/3, 3/4 of the way up the mountain, and you're slanting on an icy slope, and you're worried about some airplane flying by and you fall and bust your ass. I mean, that's basically what's equivalent, rather than focusing on what you need to do to keep climbing. I don't think I can make it any clearer. And I know you all want to make this a big story. Make it one. But don't make it about me, because it's not going to be about me.
Finish up with Ryder.
How's the catapult system helped you kind of basically pace out the conditioning of your team, especially at this stage of the year? And how much have you got, kind of adjusted based off of the fact that you've had, 15-game seasons each of the last 2 years? And how do you think the players in general are able to kind of learn themselves how to condition from maybe year 1 to year 2 when they're playing in the college ranks?
Well, I think the yearly data helps us to determine and sort of give us a baseline knowledge of a player's level of conditioning. It gives you a baseline of how many explosive movements does he normally have and at what speed. And then you can compare that to where he is now in terms of what is his explosive movements and how many times can he duplicate that. And if a player can't do it when he's in tip-top shape, then he probably needs to be, you need to cut down his reps, try to get him to recover a little bit. And I think it allows you to see, not in total, although you can look at it totally and you can look at it by position, how your team is progressing through the year. I mean, you would like for your team to be going this way and not this way. And because we have 3 or 4 years of data now, we see when our teams have gone up and when they start to fall, and how we need to try to adjust, that. So, and I think we've learned over the last 3 or 4 years how to manage that a little bit better, how to cut down practice some, how to cut down conditioning, how to rest certain guys, how to respect, this information that we have. But from a player's perspective, they can't lie to themselves. If their explosive movement is 20 miles per hour and they go out and practice and they're hitting 14, and they're not hustling, they're not giving effort. We know that too. So if they're out there really giving effort and they can't hit 20, then that's our management issue. So, and how many times can they duplicate it?
Thanks, Coach. That's it.
That's it. Thanks for the good question. That was a good question. But what I would like to know is how that affects the poll.